useless as the dirty words. In fact, they're filthy. That way yesterday, Michael Jordan told ESPN, pardon the interruption,
What if you turned off your mind's chatter for just a moment? What do you notice? Can you hear the sound of your own breath? Can you feel your own heartbeat? Is there any tension in your body? What would your life be like if you were aware of your body all the time?
Our body's talking to us all the time. We don't necessarily hear it. In fact, in adjusting to a life on this planet, we've learned to shut down our sensitivity. We've learned to turn our ears off to all of the different things our body's telling us. Everything in the body is vibrating. We're all about vibration. Everything on this planet is constantly moving and constantly vibrating, and so are we. We walk around thinking we're solid. We're really full of movement.
Dr. Hans Jenny pioneered the field of cymatics, a study of how matter responds to vibration. Part of his research involved applying vibrations to sand on metal plates. He found that different frequencies created interesting and varied patterns, proving that vibrations can actually change physical matter.
Vibrations are very significant in healing, because if we are vibrational, becoming aware and understanding those vibrational patterns give us the understanding and teach us how we can heal ourselves.
For 30 years, Lansing Barrett Gresham, founder of Integrated Awareness, has studied the body's vibrational patterns, specifically how those patterns are affected by trauma.
Trauma is shock, force energetic or force physical, to which the person is unable to respond at the moment.
Trauma happens to the body. It interrupts the natural vibrations and the natural flow within the body.
An example of trauma common to many people is a rear-ending car accident. If you have no idea that it's going to happen, you usually suffer far less trauma. Because if you have no idea, you don't brace yourself. And so when the impact occurs, your body moves with it freely. If you know it's going to happen, the body braces, and the force, in effect, creates a permanent pattern in your body. After a trauma has been experienced, it seems to people that it's sort of stored in their body. What we find is taking place is not that their body is holding on to it. Their body is habitually repeating the response they made to the shock and the trauma when it happened. And that habitually repeated response feels like the trauma.
The conflicts and the confusions in our lives are in our bodies. We hold them. What I mean to say is we wear all of our experiences in our body, our positive ones and our negative ones.
And the resulting effect on your life is that you never quite let go of the negative impacts unless something comes along to convince your nervous system that it's safe again.
Teachers of integrated awareness are trained first to meet the body in 100% vulnerability, 100% presence, and 100% unconditional love. All right, and I'm going to start reading your body. I'll start with your feet, and I'm checking all the levels of consciousness. I think one of the most important things to understand is that every density on this planet has its own vibration. Granite, for instance, vibrates at a very different rate than sandstone. Well, it's also true in our body. Bone is the most dense. It vibrates at a particular rate. The organs of our body have their own vibration. The fluid of our body has another vibration. The nervous system has its own vibration. Then in feeling the different energy flows within the body and checking the different vibratory rates with all the tissues, we can begin to feel and have an exchange with that body about what's cut off, what's whirling or moving in a disharmonic direction, and what new connections or revived connections need to be done in the body in order to get back to a more harmonious range for that particular person we're working with. In integrated awareness, when someone comes to us for a table session, we see them as our guest, not a patient and not a client, but as someone who is opening up all of who they are, and we feel invited to join with them to work with what they want in their body.
I'm a professional cellist. I play in the Utah Symphony. I've actually worked with Jan over the last couple of years periodically for a variety of conditions that I've been able to successfully eradicate with her help.
Bonnie came to me several months ago after having seen an orthopedic doctor who did an MRI and several x-rays, and he told her that she had torn her bicep almost completely off of her bone.
The wear and tear of playing the cello is way greater than most people realize. It's a very athletic thing. Before we started the work, I was restricted to a range of about like that with my arm. I could straighten it down by my side, but I couldn't bring it across my body, maybe just about to there. So that got to be constant, and everything around the shoulder was totally tight and in spasm, and so it was pretty significant pain. I couldn't sleep at night. It was very hard to sleep.
When I worked with Bonnie, my intention was to restore freedom of movement as well as to introduce the possibility of change in the tissues and energetic patterning. As I worked with her shoulder, I could feel the tension and tightness, the hardness of her shoulder, and intended a softening. Integrated awareness teachers are taught to become very aware of their energy and use their intention to move it. We can intend a calming energy, a cooling energy, a smoothing energy, whatever's needed.
And now, as you see, I can have it fully outstretched pretty much in any direction, and I can bring it fully across my body. So there's a real significant difference. I love the work. Integrated awareness is, it's pretty incredible.
She's learned a lot. She's learned that her shoulder difficulties had to do with her emotional habits, early childhood experiences, and deeply buried beliefs about herself and the world.
What I like most about integrated awareness is the fact that it addresses all different levels of healing. There's the physical level, of course, which is what drives most people in to see someone. But there's also the mental level, the emotional level, spiritual level, if you will. And I do believe the work truly integrates all those different levels of awareness.
This is an IA floor sequence piece where the focus is going to be on an internal conflict that you have with yourself.
What we call floor sessions are searches people undertake on their own.
And what I'd like you to do is identify both sides of that conflict.
They're looking for information that will help them heal, resolve a conflict, offer a new choice. Physical movement, especially improving its grace and ease, actually can release from the body system emotional trauma.
And allow your body to move into a posture that represents that side of the conflict. What bones are involved? What muscles? What connective tissue? Where is there a body site that's stiff or stuck or uninvolved with this side of your conflict? Where their movement stops is called a barrier. For instance, if I move my neck this way, right there, I run into a barrier. It's a place where it's more difficult to move. It doesn't flow.
It's formed because the mind issues simultaneous conflicting instructions. Go, stop, stay, leave. You want to do something and your parent doesn't. You want to cross the street and she screams at you, don't move. We please others before we please ourselves, and those come out as barriers in our movements. They were made for the best of intentions. We were being good boys and girls. But now that we're an adult, it also means we don't have free choice. We have habits.
By paying attention to the barrier, staying there, meeting it, listening again to what thoughts do I have, what feelings do I have, what memories do I have that may be associated with that decision not to move from any time in my life.
We use movement to enable ourselves to, this is how it feels when I follow the rule, this is how it feels when I struggle to break the rule. Somewhere there's a way of doing this, which movement will reveal to me, which feels like a harmonizing of the two choices instead of a necessity to either pick one or the other. Touch, energetics, and above all, movement enable you to arrange yourself in every way, neurologically, energetically, emotionally, mentally, every way, in a different pattern. And in that pattern, the conflict doesn't exist.
I may then understand the information my body's giving me, move through the barrier into more free movement.
I didn't have access to joy. I could see it in other people. I knew when things were fun or funny, but it wasn't something that I easily accessed. Well, what I felt was a general anger about my mother and a lack of feeling love and compassion. You know, when you feel love for a best friend or a lover or something, you actually can feel that in your heart area, and I was feeling very blocked. I wasn't feeling anything, and I didn't want that anymore in my life. I didn't want that block. So what I wished for the session that day is to work on my spine, mid-thoracic area. I was feeling a lot of tension in there. My heart area as well. What I work on when Lansing is working with me is when he asks me to focus in a certain area of my body, then I will, with my eyes closed, I will focus my attention in that part of the body. I will mentally go through my body to see where there might be, where my mind kind of stops and says, this is a place where the energy is stuck related to the issue that I'm working on at that time. Oh, the change that I felt afterwards is profound. When I first got off the table, Lansing asked me, what do you notice? And the word that occurred to me was sturdy. I felt stable. And Lansing asked me if I felt supported. And yes, felt, the term grounded is one that's used a lot. And I guess I'd never really understood before how that felt, and still feel very grounded. Not so easily manipulated emotionally so that I have much more of an even keel with my emotions. I'm much more at ease with my mother, letting her be who she is and feeling love for her. Oh, the newest thing in my life is Emily, the 15-month-old that we just adopted from China. And before, I didn't feel like I could be a good parent. I didn't feel like I wanted to transfer to her the sadness that I had, or to any child. But the person that I can be now, I can be there for her, I can be present. Life is a joy. Life is incredibly different for me than it was before integrative awareness.
And awareness is what gives people freedom to choose different patterns. So we have a dissonant pattern that we haven't been really aware of or paying attention to, and with increased awareness and integrated awareness, we can choose a pattern that feels better.
That the next time the same stimulus comes along, you don't have to respond with the same habitual or even addictive behavior.
It was different from anything I'd done before, massage or anything else.
Greatest thing that I've ever experienced as a healing modality.
It's magic. I don't know how it does it.
I used to solve problems from my head, always from my head, always logically done it, and my head has been my worst enemy.
The balance on my feet was different. Before, there had been a lot of weight on my heels. It just felt more even. My feet just felt like they were soaking up the earth.
Stressful situation comes into me, and I can either react the old way or I can listen.
I wanted to go barefoot, started working barefoot, cleaning the house barefoot, working in the yard barefoot, and have gradually bought new shoes because my feet, the shape of my feet sitting in my shoes has changed.
I can say that I can come to an IA session feeling ungrounded, out of my body, not very happy, and I can leave with a sense of well-being that lasts.
Can increased awareness actually lead us to greater mind-body wellness? Through understanding and integrating the vibrational patterns of the body, integrated awareness has introduced a new and unique healing approach, an approach that may well be revolutionary.
I've been a psychotherapist for 30 years. I've seen change and healing and growing in my practice for 30 years. But when I introduced integrated awareness, the rate of change and healing and freedom was remarkable.